Hello. So, hi. I don't know how many people will jump on. It's not normal for me to do a evening live stream like quick like this. And it's a Saturday. Is it Saturday or Sunday? Sunday. That's right. So, yeah. So we can go ahead and wait till we get people joining in. I did share it on Twitter. So I'll share again. So how are you doing, Stig?
Doing quite okay.
Quite okay. That sounds good. Okay.
Quiet night.
Yeah.
Doing quite okay.
Quite okay. That sounds. Oh, okay. You heard my feedback right there. Hello.
Broadcasting from Echo Base.
Yes, that's it. Echo base. Yeah. Yeah. So I seen that you were talking about Filoni earlier, and that's what we're kind of gonna do today as well. Hi, Mr. Dystopian. How are you doing? And so the subject today is this tonight or this evening, wherever you are in the world, is about the character Nyx. Is that how you say his name? Nyx or Nyx? Nyx being replaced by the two women sisters.
The Antifa sisters.
There we go. See, I gave up on Filoni's Clone Wars a while back, so I haven't really caught up to any of it at all. And so yeah, that's why too, since you are more privy to it than I am, Stig, then you can also help elaborate on this as well. Yeah, so Nyx Okami, yeah. And so our dear friend, and if you follow him on Twitter, I will provide a link in a little bit in the description as soon as I can get that put up. Again, this is last minute, and I thought it'd be something interesting to share with you guys as well. So we're going to go ahead and review that article and chat about the, whoops, not that one. Chat about, the Clone Wars, Filoni. If you guys haven't watched Ryan Kennel's stream about Filoni, then, it's not going to be necessary. We're not going to go into depth with it, but we are going to talk about what's been going on. So, yeah. Broccoli top haircut. Yeah, well, I just came home. I was on a 6-hour drive. I was visiting family for a few days. And then I seen this article by Ichibaka. Jeez. I am thinking of EU, but yeah, Ichibaka. So yeah, and I thought I wanted to share it. See, I am kind of scatterbrained and tired as well. So don't mind me. It's kind of entertaining to be this way sometimes for you guys. You guys can have a laugh at my expense. Yes. So I have Stig's here with me. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the article. I'm going to blow it up a little bit more here. And we're going to go through the whole thing and the whole revelation. So again, this is Ichibaka's his article that he just put out as of today. And this is off of his site, Disney Star Wars is dumb. And the topic here is Lucasfilm failed to tell King he was nixed. Ooh, yikes. So what do you think about that, Stig?
I think, well, I'm having this little moment where it's kind of like I told you so, because I warned everyone about this back when the return of the Clone Wars was announced.
Yeah.
And I said it, this isn't going to be the Clone Wars that you're used to. This is going to be Disneyfied. And it happened. And I warned everyone about season 8 of Game of Thrones too. Nobody listened.
Yeah.
Then it happened. So I'm having a great time. I'm a bit petty when it comes to that.
It's like it feels like school, like, ha, I told you so, neener, neener, neener. Oh God, that's so funny. But yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of Filoni. He turned me off when I noticed that, a lot of thing was being contradicted, and also to him going against George Lucas's wishes at times, and even the story group. So if George wasn't involved, like fully involved, they still had to follow, the what was set in the lore and stuff like this. And yeah, I understand some things were changed because George has that right? And one thing like I heard mentioned and I just laugh at it was that Korriban to Morriban thing, and how they said it was like sounding like Coruscant, Korriban, Coruscant. But then that's irrelevant or moot because we have Dantooine and Tatooine both used in the same movies.
Oh,
So I don't get that explanation whatsoever.
yeah,
So,
and Korriban has been in 3 or 4 video games,
yeah,
and
which
nobody
George
had.
helped produced.
Yeah, and Coruscant, I think, was in some of the same video games too.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. And so whoever right now, all we can say is this was done and this was said or blah, blah, blah. It's all done and over with, but the results are there and the proof is there in the pudding. And we are continuing to watch this snowball down and seeing where Filoni's heart is really at when we see the rise of Skywalker's, was it what was it that you guys reviewed again? The concept book or that book, that
Yeah,
article.
yeah, it's like the creation of the sequel
Yes.
trilogy book or something. So
Yeah.
it's from an official source.
Mm-hmm.
Lucasfilm put this in a book.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And and there's video too where Filoni does admit that he went against George's wishes on a lot of things,
Oh
and
yeah,
there's also accounts of the EU fans or the hardcore fans really testing Filoni on his knowledge of the EU when he was saying that he loved the EU and he knew it, and proved him wrong. So there's so much that can be divvied out regarding that, and it's all coming to fruition now.
yeah, and you don't even need to be an EU fan. All you have to do is pay attention, really, because you
Yeah.
see it in the Mandalorian too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're not supposed to remove their helmets because they never did that. And then you see the Clone Wars. Yeah, they're removing their helmets all the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah, and his very own
And
same story concept, right?
yeah, and Filoni wrote both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a look at this article. I'm going to read it to you guys. And those I can't see the comments right now. I'm looking straight at the screen. I'm set up on my laptop. And so if you're leaving comments, then, I will get you guys here, and Stig can help me as well. Get
Yeah,
to you guys.
I can deal with the chat if you wish,
Okay.
if it's easier.
Yeah.
Um, Lorena has popped on, and Batman big fan.
All
Cat
right.
47 and Soul Assassin. So there's a lot of good people watching.
Yes, thank you guys for tuning in, and happy Easter. No matter how you celebrate, whatever this day means to you, I hope your day is going well. So let's go ahead
Yeah.
and get into the
And
article.
Batman big fan is joining us all the way from Kuwait.
Oh, why,
So,
hello.
yeah.
Wow, we're reaching out to everyone. Thank you guys for coming in. All right. So by now, most are familiar with how the male Asian character Nyx was replaced in the Clone Wars by Cowpie Girl and his sister. Dave Filoni said that season 7 was rewritten to be better. So, in quotations, better. Some still defend Filoni, though his agenda has now been laid bare. How does this get any worse? Well, let's get to it. Well, turns out Disney didn't even have the courtesy to tell the voice actor who played Nyx, Matt Yang King, that he was going to be replaced. Ooh, that is horrible. Ew, that's okay. So first of all, we know the story group wants diverse, right? We
Yeah.
know that they want, non-white people in these key roles, right? So now are we seeing a hierarchy of their diverse patterns here? Is a like non-binary or LGBT woman better than an diverse male of a race like Asian descent or something? So are we finally finding out there's a diversity chart that they might be going off of?
Oh,
Think
and
about
remember when Disney
that. Hmm.
employees called the fans who didn't like Rose Tico racist against
Hmm.
Asians and blah blah blah?
Yeah.
This is the second time they've basically removed an Asian character
Yeah.
because they whitewashed Jan Ors and named her Jyn Erso when they ripped off the Dark Forces story for Rogue One.
Okay, so are we having something that shows that Disney Lucasfilm doesn't like Asians? Is this it?
Seems to be.
I hate to go that way because I do have Filipino blood, so I am Asian as well, and the Americans are closely genetic related to Asians as well when you look at their bone structure and everything. So it's just alarming to see this happen and see how unprofessional they are according to who they bring in and how well they communicate with their people that they have hired to play these roles. So, all right, so let's go on. If King thinks that being an Asian American actor in Hollywood is emasculating, then how did he feel when he learned he was replaced by a teenage lesbian with a cow pie on her head? And that's exactly what I thought. I was like, damn, looked like someone shit on her head.
Yeah.
So inquiring minds want to know. Yes, I want to know. This is like my curiosity is open as a person of Asian descent.
Maybe they ripped off that cow dung head lady though, because she was probably in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I don't know, but that's very good. You never know. And maybe they want to represent, cows, and I don't know. I don't know. So maybe Sam Witwer can explain these changes to him and tell Matt how he ought to feel. Ooh, boom. Damn. All right. Here's his Facebook post in which he expresses excitement at the prospect of returning in season 7. Matt feels strongly that representation matters. Sure, it does, just not for him. Ooh, ouch. All right. So let's go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes of this. So here we go. We have the article here. I can't, if I click on it, I'm not logged into Facebook, and we'll just go into like somewhere else. So I'm going to read it from here, blow it up a little bit more so we can all we can examine it close up. So here he is. You could kind of see his character resembles him. Usually when someone tries to draw someone out that kind of resembles who the voice actor is most of the time. We don't see it with Ahsoka, but she is alien. So that's the different account. Okay. Huge announcement, a long time coming. As of February 21st, 2020, I will officially become a character in Star Wars. Wow. Playing Nyxed Okami. This is from the long lost season of Star Wars Clone Wars that is coming to Disney Plus at the end of the month. And I will be playing, correct me if I'm wrong, geeks, the first Asian male love interest in Star Wars. So see, he's excited. So Stig, do we have any Asian male in Star Wars that I can't recall, but maybe?
No, I don't think so. I think he's correct. This is the first one.
Okay, damn, and they mixed him because he's male.
I guess and this is a stretch too. If you're playing one of the Knights of the Old Republic games, you can play as an Asian or Asian male or female. Like, Revan and the Exile can both be Asian male or female, and those characters can romance someone.
Okay,
as part of the story, but that doesn't really count because it's all optional. It's just based on player choice, right? Of a look for the character. So I'd say he's right. It's the first Asian male love interest, because I do believe Jan Ors was the love interest of Kung Tarn.
Yeah, and she's female, of course, and they still changed her. Like I said, there's a thing for Asians they just don't care for, or if they do use one, they do a very stereotypical racist type of background for the character. And that was Rose Tico, because Ryan even was quoted in his in the documentary or whatever you want to call it, that he wanted her to be Asian and he wanted her to be geeky. And then we go to the stereotypes of that Asians are very smart, geeky kind of people. Yeah. So, so I digress from that. So let's continue. As many of you know, I was a huge Star Wars fan as a kid. I watched the OT over 100 times. Dave Filoni, thank you for the Mandalorian, by the way. And George Lucas decided to harken back to George's inspiration of Kurosawa's Hidden Fortress and make an Asian male rogue to play off Ahsoka Tano, voiced by the amazing Ashley Eckstein. I won the role and came in and voiced it for 4 years ago. It was a dream come true. So this is very heartbreaking. My heart is breaking for this dude right now. All right. Let's go ahead and check it out. Then George sold the franchise. That's when all of our hearts broke, when we realized that the original lore EU was gonna be, thrown off to the wayside in Coin Legends. The episodes were shelved, and I chalked it up to another, well, that's business. That's the business. It sucked, but what could I do? Then when I found out that the episodes were being released on Disney Plus, I was stunned by how much emotion I had that this character was finally going to be seen. Imagine that, building up that excitement. Oh my God, just imagine that. The family being so proud as well that he, landed this role in Star Wars is such an iconic franchise built up from the ground up from George Lucas and his team, including the lore. I
It
realized I
used to
had
be,
just
that's right. It used to be an iconic franchise. Now it's just turning into Marvel with spaceships.
Yeah, and
So,
that's the path I see it's going. They're taking how Marvel was produced as a franchise, and now they're like, inserting into Star Wars, which Star Wars was never built that way. Star Wars basically was 25 millennia of history and lore. And, if there was any inkling of retconning, it was just settling something straight, because when you have an IP, a fake fantasy, again, universe or galaxy, it's hard to keep track, but at the time they did it so well. Yeah. So I realized I had just subliminated, I can't even talk, the loss as just another feeling. Or did I skip something here? Oh yeah, I realized, okay, I'm on the right course. See, rewind, Alora. Another feeling of emasculation that came along with being an Asian American actor in Hollyweird. Oh, nice. I call it Hollyweird too. I silent monologue of course that character doesn't get to be seen. Why would he? See, the key word is he. Why would he? Representation matters, and after a 20 plus years career of small slights, opportunities, failures, and fighting to be seen, this simple animated role in Star Wars means the world, especially in the context of a 7-year-old boy who lost his Han Solo action figure in the front yard and spent the next 3 years looking for it. Wow, that's dedication. Especially because I got to play a Han Solo type character. Oh, he's kind of given us an idea a little bit more. I mean, many of you guys probably understood what this character was going to resemble in such a way,
oh,
especially because,
I think he was in the previous episode, wasn't he?
like I said, I gave up towards the end. Like, so.
No, I don't know.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's go on. Especially because it stars freaking wars. Especially because it's a love interest. Guillermo del Toro once said, at the age of 40, you should try to make your inner 12-year-old happy. Okay, so let's go back to that. So George even said that he wanted Star Wars to be for adults to young kids, so adults with the kid at heart, and then younger kids. And a lot of the focus was around the age of 12.
Yeah.
And my inner 12-year-old, go ahead.
Pretend you're in the middle of puberty again.
Well, that's what Filoni's doing with Ahsoka. So
yeah.
But I digress from that. Well, and my inner 12-year-old is over the moon. Now, if I could just find the action figure. Oh, he still hasn't found it. Or maybe his action figure of himself, maybe? Or is he talking about Han Solo? So that's not clear. Please give it a watch on Disney Plus. That is very good kind of him to even say watch it despite me my ass not being told that I wasn't gonna be be in it and blah blah blah. So basically, here's his character here. It looked like that would have been a nice character to discover and learn about a little bit more in the arc here. I mean, those who are still following it. But no, we got the two sisters. So on here are some, just some comments on regarding him. And these were all like 9 weeks ago when this was put up here. And so basically they're telling him congratulations, that is awesome. But that's kind of sad because congratulations, he got to voice him. But how is it congratulations, that's awesome that now you were replaced with these sisters, these for social justice reasons.
And they're so boring,
Mm-hmm.
If they had been well written and cool characters and all that, a lot of it would, could be forgiven, right? But they're so
Mm-hmm.
dull.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I seen this, and thank you, Ichibaka, again, when I seen this and I was almost home from the drive and I was like, I need to do a live stream with this. I'm always tell myself when these little bits come out that I want to do a live stream or do a video and I don't do it. So I was like, now's the chance, we're coming home, still kind of relaxed, relaxing down, settling down. So I thought I'd put this on here. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the comments and then we'll go from there. Let's see here. Oh, goodness.
Chief Eddie says, "Hello there."
Hello there. And thank you guys all for coming on. It looks like we have about 20 of you guys here, and thank you so much. And I think there's another live stream that's going to be happening here pretty soon, or maybe it is going on right now. And that's about the Lando Calrissian on, I think it's Fatal J's channel.
Yeah, so, it's already going on.
Okay.
There's talk about two Lando shows. One is a sequel to the solo movie, and the other one is of an older Lando, I think. But, Lando is Pando now, so Lando's gonna give R2 SDD2.
Yeah, I don't know. So we have right here, that guy says, in my opinion, Filoni is a beta male, so it makes sense that that the story group would over absorb him into their hive mind, and that's what's going on. It feels like it's a hive mind, especially with the revelation of how he feels about how Luke should have been displayed or shown in the sequel trilogy, and if he was really adamant about protecting George's legacy and that he was really his understudy, like people put him up to be, then he would be defending Luke's character arc, saying this is not Luke.
I think what's happening though is the guy is such a suck up that he just said what George wanted to hear and what the fans wanted to hear. When George was out, he's doing the same to the story group.
Yeah.
Just to keep Ahsoka going.
Yeah, it could be this like survivor of the fittest kind of thing right now, and that's including Ahsoka.
The guy's like Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, except with low IQ.
So Soul Assassin looked like she had those cosmic cookie as a haircut. I just have it up. It's just out of the way. Let's see here. K-Log, how are you doing? She looks like Dave Chappelle and Nutty Professor. Why, thank you. Hi, Teresa. How are you doing? Let's see here. Hi, Lorena. Okay, so let's go to this topic, and Lorena's right. Stereotypes basically just feed into more of the racist narrative that we've been seeing, and I don't follow them, and nor do I even care for them. Just like that one, what's that girl's name in the Snowflake Safe Space comic series coming out? The Native woman in the pink.
Trailblazer?
Trailblazer, yes.
Was that the chubby one with a backpack?
Mm-hmm. I cannot stand that because that is a stereotype right there.
How?
Because first of all, it's stereotype in that we are basically fat and lazy, and that we are basic. I mean, we were never designed like that as Native Americans. We were never ever designed like that. What you see of us now basically is because of being put on reservations, because of government like commands and stuff, and because of losing a lifestyle. But we were inclined as a people to be physically healthy, or physically athletic, I guess you could say. And so to have that and say, oh, here's your Native American and she's big and fat and whatever, I just don't care for that as well. And just like I said with Rose Tico as well, that she was stereotyped, Finn was stereotyped as well. So I mean, there's a lot of stereotypes. Yep, trailblazer, thank you. I kind of like shove that in the back of my head because it's disgusting. All right. The season, okay, so this is Vertical Horizons. Hi, how are you doing? The season is a big letdown, too much Ahsoka and SJW generic characters. And that's what I've been hearing. I did watch the first two and then I gave up on it. So I missed out on that arc here. And I know there's people who are big Ahsoka fans that are scared to watch it because of what they're hearing. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, it's like I said a while ago. If you're creative, right,
Mm-hmm.
as a writer or painter, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's because you have the ability to dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're too woke, you can't dream. Which is why all the characters these SJWs are making are generic as hell, and
Yeah.
completely they're void of any originality. It's like they
Mm-hmm.
come off an assembly line.
Yeah.
Because all they say is skin color, gender, and sexuality. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. And then they're like, okay, so this gay person has a ship. That'll make him interesting. And that's where it stops.
Yeah. And you know what's sad today is that I like the reimagined art, fan art from Avar Chris, because I really, as an artist myself, she is not attractive. There is the anatomy is very incorrect for being a woman. Even an athletic woman, they still have curves. Women's bodies are very different than a man. So even if she was a tomboy, if you want to go the masculinity way, she's still feminine. She's still a woman. And so there has to be some signs of that body shape, because we are created to create a life, to make life, to hold life, to nourish life, and our bodies reflect that. And so like when Steven Stevens and then even Anna's portion are their remake of Avar Chris, I was like, right on, that's great because it shows some shape. Then I went and shared Jaina Solo's portfolio of her being in her Jedi traditional robes. You could still tell she's a woman even though she's very petite as well.
Yeah,
And
and
so
well, keep in mind though, those chumps that are writing the High Republic did say they were gonna infuse it with non-binary characters, and that there just might be one of them.
maybe, and but what's different, what's crazy, and we're getting into that point of non-binary, is that they didn't indicate her as a non-binary. They said she.
Yeah.
And so I
Well,
got into
remember that GameStop thing?
mm-hmm,
Trans guy, whatever it was, snapped.
mm-hmm,
He wanted to be called she as well. So
yeah. Well,
just
that
saying.
and then the person that I've been discussing this with ended up being a non-binary, and he kept on admitting, trying to tell me, well, it's this, and you're just saying that she's ugly, and just going on with that kind of narrative. I'm like, no, I'm talking about the female anatomy, how a female body is from experience. Um, all of that. And then finally I was like, you think you know better when you're not experiencing a woman's body like I am, because I'm in one, basically. And I told him he was mansplaining, and he got pissed at me. He's like, I am non-binary, I don't associate being a man. I was like, oh Lord, here we
No,
go.
so the person was mamsplaining then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. I said you're mansplaining in a situation of telling me as a woman. I went down that way, which exposes non-binary snowflakes as well. And so I end up telling him, because I do have an uncle who's gay, so and so I have no prejudice towards that. I just don't believe in non-binary bullshit.
Yeah,
So you
and
that's it.
if
I don't care.
if gender is fluid, you know, and there's like 70 genders or whatever it is,
Hmm.
that completely debunks the wage gap.
That and also too, yeah, no, I just lost my train of thought there, but you are correct. So let me go ahead and take a look at Luke Skywalker. How are you doing, Luke Skywalker? Kathleen Kennedy is one of the problems. She's a feminist with a massive ego. Star Wars needs to be seen again in the light it once was. And I don't think we'll ever see it again unless we just stay in George Lucas era of Star Wars, and that is Legends. So she looks physically fit and not a stick of wood, but I guess she's supposed to be filling for Brie Larson. Are you talking about the Avar Chris? Okay. I hope Rosario Dawson brings something new for Ahsoka character since she will be Ahsoka the white around the Mandalorian time. And that's the thing. So where did this Ahsoka white come from? Is just from from Filoni's fan art that he created of her being in white
No,
like
no,
that?
no. It's from Rebels
Okay.
because she died and
Hmm.
she had basically quit the club by not being a Jedi anymore.
Oh yeah, I
So
know that. Hmm.
yeah, so when she quit, the lightsaber turned white for whatever stupid reason. Because it's not about the crystal anymore. It's about
They
which club
have
you're a member of.
destroyed so much lore that was
Yeah,
beautifully constructed, and it's just a heartbreaking. And so now, and
yeah,
then now it seems like they're turning, like changing the lore in a whim just to fit the moment, no matter what had come before it.
yeah, and it makes no sense because when Anakin turned into a Sith, his lightsaber was still blue in
Hmm.
Episode 3. But what happened though was Filoni couldn't get rid of his waifu, so he had them bring her back by basically time travel, and she was wearing some robe and she had a staff, I think. So it's
Hmm.
like Gandalf the White coming back in the Lord of the Rings. That's exactly what he did.
Okay, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh God, yeah. See, and I think that she's being shoehorned into too much now to where it's going to contradict even the movies now. But that's my opinion. Okay, Soul Assassin. When the fans are correcting your art, you know you messed up royally. And like even the center of gravity, everything in that image was like the anatomy wasn't correct. And I'm not just talking about like a womanly shape correct. I'm talking about in general correct. The arms are too long. The torso and the legs did not match either. Even though you have the clothes on, the clothes should still match like where the waist is at, the leg, the pant legs, all that. So yeah. Hi, how are you doing? Okay. It's ma'am, Stig.
Yeah,
It's ma'am.
the mansplaining
The
from
ma'am
the
splaining. Maybe I should have
from
said that. Maybe they would have not gotten us pissed because men are bad now. Men are bad.
yeah, it's the Mandalorian.
The ma'am DeLorean, him, ma'am, yeah, because he's now a nursemaid.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. So that guy says even if a genuine real character was created at Lucasfilm, it would pass through so many hands that by the time it came out to the public, that character would be so watered down and bland. You might have a point there. And so,
yeah.
I mean, even the established characters, by the time they get back onto the screen or back into the novelization, they're not recognizable anymore.
Nerd Cookies has a good point. She says KK was focused on what she thought Star Wars was missing. She wasn't focused on what made it great. Unfortunately, that looks like the direction they're continuing to take with the High Republic, and that's probably spot on. The
Yeah.
problem is though, Star Wars wasn't missing that stuff.
Mm-mm.
It was
Never
probably
has.
Hidalgo and some others telling her get rid of the EU.
Yeah.
And she probably hadn't read it, and fair enough, right?
Hmm.
She's from what I gather, she's not invested in Star Wars at all. She's just a boss.
Yeah.
So we can't expect her to have read 200 novels.
Yeah. That, and then also too, but you really don't need to, because I'm going to refer back to Hidalgo and give him this credit. He's the one that created the Reader's Companion, which basically from the time he published it up to a certain date timestamp, he put in all the novelizations in chronological order. I think there's only a few novels that are not in it, and that includes Kenobi, because by the time it was published, Kenobi wasn't out yet. In the
Probably why he hates the EU. He had to do all that.
I don't know. And then he also wrote for their the Star Wars log or whatever, the magazine for Star Wars. He was also a writer for that and answered so many questions and used a lot of the EU as well. So so it just baffles me. The only thing I could say is that you don't bite the hand that feeds you, and Filoni's now showing that as well. Something to think about, people. Just like Leland Shee, he digressed from everything he said from the past that he's quoted on, and now saying that the EU was not canon, even though he swore up and down when he was working for George Lucas. And mind you, they will do what their boss needs them to do. So if it wasn't canon or authentic, then his workers would not falsely state something that's not true to the business.
Yeah, I think what he might mean though is that it wasn't canon on the same level as the movies, which is true.
Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry.
So the EU canon and everything, I guess, below the movies on the canon list were always susceptible to being changed should George make another movie.
Yeah, and he has that right, because the movie is the foundation. However, more than anything, he used the EU and never changed it more than anything else. And there's evidence in like the PT and other sources as well.
Well, the only thing he kind of changed was Dark Empire, which is kind of not even canon in the EU to some extent. It's being ignored because it was written before the Chosen One concept, and it was supposed to be like a one-off kind of comic.
Yeah.
So that one is the odd one out, and I see a lot of people using that as an example, but they never mention when it was written.
Yeah, and that's funny too, because when they're like, "Oh, I hate the EU because of Dark Empire and the Emperor coming back, blah blah blah," and now look at this. It's just like bam, right in the kisser with Rise of Skywalker. So they can't use that anymore. They can't. And now when you compare both of them, you see one is made much more better than the other. So okay, so let me see. Vertical Horizons. The artists they hire to come up with the character concepts are Tumblr and webcomic artists who get proportions wrong on even human anatomy. I've noticed that. I noticed that Anna really was adamant about that when she was, re-sketching or correcting the images as well on the anatomy. And it was wrong, and even in my own work, if I feel like I'm off on a day and I still am going to create an image of a person, I will notice, like, oh crap, this needs to be corrected here, that needs to be corrected there. So anatomy is important unless you're really going for abstract art. And so where abstract is interpreted by people in different ways, and so nothing has to be correct in it because it's abstract. However, this is not abstract art that we're talking about. Soul Assassin, that book shouldn't exist. It proves there's source material. There's source material. You got that right. KK focused on making her Star Wars better than George's Star Wars, when she should have just been focused on making good Star Wars. Exactly. And that's the point. The point is not inserting anything in there, but continuing to honor the legacy, thinking, what made George's Star Wars unique? Can we focus on that?
Star Wars was designed by George Lucas to be timeless, so it would resonate with everyone. The new Star Wars is designed to be Reddit or BuzzFeed or Tumblr 2019.
Yeah.
And it doesn't resonate with anyone because that's a very small percentage of the population, and most of them have brain damage.
Something's going on there. Hi, Rookie Critic. How are you doing? Glad you are popping in. Let's see here. Vertical Horizon, the Sacred Jedi text. And that's the thing. And at first I was like, the Sacred Jedi text, blah, blah, blah. What? They're like more of a technological people. Hardly had any, what they called paper? Flimsy. So they hardly had any flimsies. And that was basically prehistoric. But however, they did have, texts as well because Obi-Wan left a journal, a written journal for Luke. So, I digressed on that when I was going through my own fits about that kind of stuff. However, it would have been refreshing for them to say flimsies and stuff like that instead of, paper or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, at least stay consistent with something. Like, even just if you're not going to use characters, use what was established, like refreshers were the restrooms, flimsy is paper. So, yeah.
Just if you're going to make a new canon, you need to at least stick to that one, and they can't even do that.
I know. Okay, let's see here. Mr. Dystopian, the EU never pushed any agendas. That's why they went to erase it all and replace it with their crap. And that's the thing, too, is like I said, like with the Mandalorians in Legacy of the Force, there is a gay couple, but it wasn't forced upon you.
Yeah, they were just
and that's great.
They were just people who happened to be gay, and they contributed to the story in a meaningful way. They weren't there just to be gay.
Yeah, exactly.
They actually had a part to play.
Yeah, exactly. And so from this little article we had with the character Nyx being Nyxed out of season 7 for the sisters, we're leading into this type of talk. But it's good to address something like this and get it off our shoulders and realize that Star Wars was never built to be what we're seeing today. So all right, I'm going to read this. Luke Skywalker, Matt Martin didn't even know about the Empire being a clone. The fact that the story group are not all being told about this sort of information is so worrying. Exactly.
Yeah, and that chump also said canon isn't important, and he's the guy in charge of Lucasfilm's canon. So okay, quit then.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, canon doesn't matter. Or he's saying canon is making fans toxic. That was one of his tweets. And I was like, it's not making them toxic. You destroying breaking our rules is making the fans notice. And so they're calling you out. That's not being toxic. That's saying, hey, wait a minute here. There's no consistency anymore.
So what he wants is mindless drones that don't even pay attention to the stories they're giving us.
So you guys see, ladies and gentlemen, here, they want you guys all to be mindless, numb droids, drones, or whatever, just consuming. Just, go in, turn the brains off, eat your popcorn, watch it, walk out. That's it. That's it. And do you guys want to be that way? I don't think so. If you guys love the franchise as much as I do, and Sig, and I'm pretty sure you guys love it at your own level, your own capacity, and there is always going to be, something in Disney you may agree with, something you may not, and the same with George Lucas's era. But what it comes down to is that George created this wonderful foundation that we all grew up knowing and loving as fans, no matter if we came from the OT or the PT section of the movies coming out. It got us into Star Wars. It brought us here today, and it has us talking about it today, passionately noticing what's going on and what's wrong with it now in the new hands. All right. Rookie Critic. Yeah, you can write things in a way to have a loose end, but answered later in a way that doesn't contradict what you established OG Star Wars. And I guess I can agree with you in a sense because I don't know exactly what you're coming up on with that. Maybe
he's right, except you can't do that in episode 9 because that's supposed to wrap up everything.
Yeah, well, you can do that in the last portion, like even the last three movies, off of a foundation that's already established and built. And Stig, if you guys don't know, he does have experience in writing and stuff, so that's why I like to bring him on, because he has more experience and he can offer more depth into this as well. So you want to say anything else, Stig?
Literally.
Literally. Literally, not figuratively, but literally. All right. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Hello, how are you doing? All right. Glinser? Glinser, is that how you say that? I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. I understand. My name gets butchered all the time if it's Alora and it's spelled like aloha with an R before the H. So I get aloha in all different combinations. The new Star Wars was designed. Actually, there was no plan. So I wouldn't even say it was designed.
It was just created in a lab when someone spilled something into the bowl.
In a petri dish with feces, maybe. I don't know. I'm being, yeah. Okay. That guy says timeless, exactly, Stig. Also, they focused on story before politics. And inserting politics that fits what's going on in the plot is not the kind of politics that we're talking about, because all stories, especially Star Wars, the word war is going to have some, my cat, hello, some kind of say hi everybody, look at that, there's my baby, she's like, mom's home. I'm gonna have a politics, because war is basically from politics. Oh goodness.
Yeah, and you can have certain elements that mirror politics, but at the end of the day, Star Wars isn't our world, right? It's in the past, in a different galaxy.
Yeah.
And they clearly don't have our issues.
She's clawing my leg up. Bye, cat. Oh, that hurts. Sorry. Yes, you have a great point there. She got on and she was like, how cats like paw when they're comfortable? And I'm wearing leggings right now, and so the material's kind of thin. Ouch. That did not feel good. So happy Easter, OG Star, or Stig and OG Star Wars. Thank you so much, and I hope your day has been going well.
The same to you, Willie, and your family. Have a good Easter.
Yeah. All right. What is your opinion about Ahsoka Tano as a character? I am not one of the popular people on this. I never cared for her. I never thought Anakin should have gotten a Padawan, because he was very immature. So I don't think that he was capable of that he should have been even capable of doing that. And in Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, Obi-Wan says to Anakin, because Anakin's pouting still about, why he's not being recognized, because his force abilities, are like above others. And Obi-Wan tells him, we're not questioning your skills. We are questioning your maturity. And I think that's correct. And I think that's correct all the way into Revenge of the Sith. And that's my opinion on that. So, Stig, what do you think?
Ahsoka, to begin with, was no problems with her really, except for Anakin shouldn't have had a Padawan.
Yeah,
and by the looks of it, it was supposed to be a temporary thing.
Yeah.
But George wanted her to get killed during Order 66, and that's also a good writing point of view, or a point, because that would have more impact if we see Ahsoka getting killed as well, because it would show just how far Anakin has fallen.
Yeah.
But then Filoni decided, he can't quit his waifu, so he just keeps bringing her back and back. And I see people that were huge fans of Ahsoka. Even they are saying, she's outstayed her welcome. Basically, it's just turning into Ahsoka Wars now.
Yeah, and
that's a shame, because Ahsoka is actually a good character, all in all. There's nothing wrong with the character, except that she's
used for nostalgia.
Yeah, she's misplaced in the
Mhm.
in the story.
Mhm.
She's in the wrong spot. I think if Disney had used their own canon and all that, she would have fit better as one of the academy students that Luke trained later on. She
Yeah.
would have fit better there, I think.
Yeah, and then I'll further expand on that is like some people I've noticed said, well, then maybe now she can be um introduced to Luke later on and blah 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 and kind of thing, and I'm like, because Yoda and them know about her, and I was like, that still doesn't fit because we really don't like when we see Kyle Katarn, for example, you know, there was there was he was never introduced like how they're saying maybe Ahsoka could be, because it's a reason why. He was there for a mission. He joined the Empire. He defected. Um, he stole the plans. He stopped being a Jedi, or he stopped with training, or whatever. And then after he returned back, once Luke started recreating, rebuilding the Jedi Order, and so there's a reason why that he wasn't introduced, because in Return of the Jedi, Yoda tells him, you when I'm gone, the last of the Jedi you will be. And there's a reason why he says that, because anybody who's in hiding right now has dropped their Jedi training, except for Obi-Wan and Yoda, and
And
are hiding, whatever.
Ezra and Ahsoka and who the heck knows anymore.
Hmm.
It's like a pile of Jedi's now.
Yeah, and like I don't even think Ezra should have been trained during that time frame either,
Nope.
because that takes out from Luke being the last one, and we don't know what happened with Ezra now, as of now.
Yeah, and
So,
Yoda knows he's out there, so that's another hope, I guess.
hmm,
And
yeah,
Ahsoka is technically another hope, and then Luke,
hmm,
and then
yeah,
this mess is caused by Filoni.
hmm,
Ezra should have died during Rebels, so that Luke would be just the only one, and Ahsoka as well.
yeah, yeah. And and like you said, it's like this mess piling up here, and like there's a reason why, like in Darth Lord Rise of Darth Vader, it shares him killing the Jedi at the end of the book, and Obi-Wan saying inside, putting the secret message inside the temple, for them to scatter and not be known, because if they join together, then they'll be sensed more by the Emperor and by Vader. And so there's a reason why he set out that message for the Jedi to stay away and stop being Jedis.
Yeah, and even that doesn't make any sense now because they can just use that. What is it? The Fab from the
Mm-hmm.
Mandalorian. You can just track anyone
How does that
anywhere.
work? How does
Yeah,
that work?
yeah. Is it like GPS across the whole damn galaxy? That's quite a
But how
reach.
is someone marked and then tagged with that?
I don't know. They never explain it. So if
Just all of a sudden, it's like, do they have a
yeah,
secret DNA data bank on everybody in the galaxy now?
I don't know. But if they do, they would have had Yoda and Kenobi's DNA from the Jedi Temple. I'm guessing
Mm-hmm.
because I'm guessing they got tested for midichlorians and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And if the Emperor knows Luke is alive, all he has to do is take a sample from Vader because they share the same blood. And yeah, it makes no sense. And why the heck didn't Palpatine use it in the sequel trilogy when that technology was absolutely there, and use
Mm.
it to find Rey and
Exactly.
Luke? Yeah, and Luke
And they could
again.
have used that on Luke to find him,
Yeah, and they could
because
have found
nobody in
Leia
the universe.
and the rebels.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think they thought this through. Really, I don't
yeah,
think they thought this
it's
through.
marvelously done, and this is why you don't retroactively invent new technology
Mm-hmm.
because it can create a pile of problems, and it just did.
Mm-hmm. It sure did. And as Matt Martin has says, that we are not focusing on the continuity as well. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy Disney Star Wars, because it's like every new story, it's not going to make sense. They're not going to care about if it's going to contradict the foundation, which are the movies, or, you know, because basically they made Skywalker Saga separate from the lore now, is from what I'm getting from. So it's they're not going to even focus on a foundation.
Yeah,
So
if you remove the foundation, you can't rebuild anything on it. You need a new foundation first.
yeah. Yes. So let's go ahead and get into the comics now. The Mandalorian show could have been better if it was an adoption of the Bounty Hunter War books. Maybe, but that's putting Boba Fett back into the thing. And do you guys want him written in Disney Star Wars light? Or do you want him to stay as he was beforehand, where he becomes Mandalore and the ruler of Mandalore? Think about that. Think
Yeah,
about
the Mandalorian is basically a watered down Boba Fett, and you could, well, goodbye. I guess I'll take questions from the chat. She left. Hi, Abu Nas and Stephen Walton.
Oh, hello.
Welcome back, Alora.
Yes, I had to jump out real quick and jump back in. That was fun.
Get your shit together, lady.
Hey, I have an excuse. I was on the road for 6 hours and stuff, so yeah. Okay, so where are we at now? I lost where I was at the comments here. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, let's see here. Did we see the RK Outpost video yesterday? Yes. Says that Filoni, that everything that happened to Luke and Leia in the sequel trilogy was Filoni's idea. He was one of them brainstormed, and they had a live stream about that today. And Stig was in there. So you want to talk a little bit more about that, Stig?
No.
Oh, you're like, no? It's like, no, I don't have, you can't make me woman.
Yeah, it's basically, it shows that Filoni had a big hand in what happened to Luke and how Luke was treated in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
And he certainly goes against George Lucas's wish there, because George said that Luke became the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy after Episode 6. He said this numerous times, and I bet you Filoni has heard it. And then he does this. Just, yeah, let's make Luke a hobo.
Yeah, and that goes to my point. If Filoni was really George's apprentice and had Star Wars in the best interest because of George, then he would have adamantly wanting to protect Luke and his character arc. Not say, let's push him out of the way for a woman, for his, and, you know, mind you, it's his sister, and they're both the chosen one's children. I get it, but they don't have to degrade and humiliate Luke for even his own sister to shine, and that's evident inside the original lore.
You know, it's almost bullying tactics, because bullies always put people down so they can feel bigger, and that's kind of the writing version of doing that, because you're making one character look downright stupid and useless just to make the other one look a bit better. That's not how you do it. You know, characters should be competent on their own accord. You know.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree with that.
It's perfectly okay to have two competent characters.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine to have three. And, you know, basically we have, like with PT and OT, we have threes, basically, you know, and one complements each other. But initially it's the Skywalker, and I'm going to say this, the Skywalker men that are the ones that we are focused on, because, you know, Luke was the beginning of it, and then they expanded on his father, Vader, to show his rise and fall. And then we have Leia in there, which is the daughter, and she kind of took the role of her mother, basically Padme. So we have that mirroring each other right there as well. And so I think it was beautifully done. So basically, even I said the men were the focus, but we also had the women that were the focus, and that they helped push along the plots, and they grew in their own way as well. And then we have the other ones like Obi-Wan and Han, that were some kind of mentor, helper, or whatever you want to call them, that helped along with the plot and the lore, and we got to see them progress as well, like Han's own journey of becoming a scoundrel who was an orphan, and you know, and was betrayed in the past, and even by love, and working. Oh, I live out on a reservation community, and that's fireworks, if you heard that. It's not gunshots. And So we got to see his arc going from this selfish to the selfless hero. So it was beautifully done by George, in my opinion. You want to expand on that, Stig?
No, George absolutely wrote a great story, but Disney just undid it with their sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Because, Anakin, Kenobi, Luke, all of them are completely pointless because the chosen one was now Palpatine all along. So remove the Skywalkers, remove Kenobi, remove Yoda, and the story will pretty much end the same way.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you said we have authors. We have Stephen here, or Stephen Welton. We have Abu Nas. Hi, Abu. How you doing? And a few other that came in. We're closing in on 30 people. So if you guys have a chance, press the like button, share on Twitter, let them know that I am doing a live stream. This is off character for me. I normally don't do one at night. So I'm glad you guys are all here. I'm so excited to talk with you guys and have Stig here as well. All right. Anything Disney does, I disregard and just follow the Legends books. And that's perfectly fine. And that's where the lore, like I said, makes more sense, in my honest opinion, as well. And there's a lot of genuine stories to that, and of course you're going to like some of the books or novels better than the other, but when it comes down to it and you look at the continuity, they all make sense together as a history. Maybe the GPS system only works with limited range, not sure. And that's the thing as well. It doesn't seem like it does, because didn't they find him on that forest planet where he helps them defeat the AT-AT?
Now, that was a marvelously dumb episode, though.
He's like marvelously, and I thought he was going to say fantastic, but he's like marvelously dumb.
Yeah. Gina Carano's character is a veteran from the Endor battle, and she doesn't know that you can use lumber to destroy an AT-ST.
I know, but
they're on a forest planet. Lumber, AT-ST. Veteran from Endor. It's the only way you've seen an AT-ST get defeated. Is in the movies is by the Ewoks using lumber.
And that you would think the Ewoks would be a little bit more primitive than them, because humans had to migrate, because the humans migrated throughout that galaxy. I'm going to go ahead and Stig, you expand on that. I'm going to go ahead and close my window so that fire.
Yeah, and so she doesn't know that you could use lumber, and the Mandalorian doesn't seem to know that all he has to do is go back to his ship, and they'll have firepower.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can just fly the ship over and destroy the AT-ST. So many obvious solutions, and they just go, yeah, let's dig a hole in the ground, make it trip. It's like, it's Disney, all right. It's something Donald Duck would do.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Hi, Soul Assassin. So many plot holes with Disney Lucasfilm. That's for sure. Maybe they just dug a plot hole, and that's where the AT-ST fell into, right? Yeah. I don't know. So let's see here. Whoa. Let me go ahead and I don't want to miss anybody's chat, so we can expound on this while I'm here. But if I do, I'm sorry. Let's go here. They could have gone with Leia being trained by Luke. I'd have no problem with that. And they did in the original EU. And that was during the Thrawn trilogy. Yeah. In fact, Luke creates Leia's saber for her. Her very first saber was a red colored saber. Interesting, right? And he created it for her. And then then she trained off and on, but her political duties outweighed her Jedi training. So it took her longer, because her heart was more of recreating or getting the New Republic up and running, that she put her Jedi training in the back burner. But by the time Darkness trilogy comes along, she picks a new master, and that's Saba 17, and she constructs her new lightsaber, and then she becomes a Jedi Knight. She's totally she basically retires from being in politics and started training. It took her record time to become a Jedi Knight, because who she is.
and she's always had already had basic training,
Exactly.
and
You
she's
know.
seen Luke and Mara and all the others use the Force, so she's been around it.
Yeah. Exactly. The execution was the problem. Luke was not presented with or respect or consistency. You got that right, sir. You got that right. All right. Gilnzer. I've heard a cultural appropriation, but continuity appropriation. Glad I skipped episode 9. And that's the thing is that we would say, oh yeah, they're stealing from Legends, or they're or whatever. They have the right to do that because they do own Legends. They do. Even George says, I handed you a treasure trove of novels and all this to make movies with. And that's one of my best little clips of video I have on my channel, is that little clip of him telling that to KK. But they don't want to use it, but they will cherry pick from it, but then they will bastardize it. And that's what gets fans upset, is the bastardization of the original lore. And we've
And
seen that in Rise of Skywalker.
Glinzer is actually touching on something here with the appropriation,
Okay.
because in the last 10 years, right, there's been nothing original. It's just
Yeah.
remakes, reboots, poorly.
Like every single franchise is doing that to themselves.
Yeah, so they're basically using stuff other people have created and bastardizing it. So wouldn't that be generational appropriation?
It's basically it's appropriation all around.
Yeah, because they're appropriating stuff people from the previous generations created, and they're not creating a damn thing new themselves except Trailblazer and Snowflake.
Yeah, and the thing is, with appropriation, as someone who's seen her culture appropriated, like with the headdresses and stuff worn by white women, which I think is disgusting, because in my culture, headdresses are very honorable pieces that are given to people who truly earn them. I think when it comes to appropriation, if you're going to take and borrow something from a culture, just like say music or art, because I do belly dance as well, so I am borrowing that art style and learning about the art style, is do it right. Learn from it and teach. If you're going to teach it right. Show it the way it's supposed to be in its entirety. Don't bastardize it.
And speaking as a Norwegian, I see Viking helmets all over the world. That's appropriation too. And they even turned one of our old gods into a Marvel character, which is also appropriation technically. I don't mind that though, because it's entertaining. But
yeah, there's some things that are, like I would say, are fun and good. Just do it right, and and there's some things like taking the sacred and appropriating. That's wrong. And that's my point. And so, but when you take something that comes to the lore that was already established and you rewrite it, it's going to be a form of appropriation, and it's going to be something that people, I have another window open. Shit, people need to stop celebrating social distancing. They're supposed to be inside. No, I'm joking. But anyways, they should pay respect to it. There should be a form of respect to it by keeping it as original as they can. If they can't, then don't use it. So let's see here. And I don't know if you want to expand on that.
No, I think you nailed it.
Okay. All right. So Vertical Horizons. I love that. They should have gone with Trevorrow's script. At least it sounds much more entertaining and actually made sense for the sequel trilogy. And I will second that one. I don't care about, show the JJ's cut when that came out, because by the sounds of it, no matter which way they returned the last movie under JJ, I don't think it would have fit at all. I don't think
they had a way out for one of the problems though, because The Last Jedi wasn't edited and finished when Carrie Fisher passed away.
Yeah.
And they had a way out where they could have had her die in that explosion on the ship and just leave her dead because of that.
Yes.
And then just use Luke instead, because Mark Hamill is still alive. They could have just done that.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And the thing is, and then they had a third episode where Leia was supposed to be kind of like the focus of the OT focus character, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But the actress was dead, so what the heck were they thinking?
Yeah. They weren't thinking. They wanted to honor, and I get that they talked to her family, Carrie Fisher's family. But the thing is that I it was very off-putting because the audience going in, seeing that and knowing that's not her and it's refurbished CGI character is very distasteful. I think to me, it's very distasteful, and
It felt wrong,
mm-hmm.
and it felt wrong in Rogue One as well when they used Tarkin, because same thing, right?
Yes, same thing. So I mean, and there's some people that felt it was okay for them, like their personal take, and that's fine. I understand, like you're like, oh, that's fine. They're just honoring her, but it still feels off. I mean, even if you thought it was okay, you can't say that it did not feel off. At least, And I love, Leia, Carrie Fisher. I love what she brought in through the OT and stuff. I mean, beautiful woman, beautiful character, all around and stuff. So, all right. So we're going to go to that. Guy says Avar Chris is the bestest of the best while Yoda is alive. And I wanted to do a touch bases and do a video on that. Not necessarily about the High Republic Jedi like Avar Chris, but that time frame that still has Yoda alive in it. And during that time frame, he should be about 700 years old. He should be a master by now, which means he's training, he's involved. He's not a grandmaster just yet, according to the lore, if they're still going to follow that trail, that track of his. But he is 600 to 700 years old at that time. So that means he has a lot of influence.
Yeah, and that means he has trained Jedi for 500 years, according to the OT. So, and if they have like a Sith Empire in there, like they hinted that they would,
yeah,
and that's a massive plot hole, because if it's a Sith Empire, that means the rule of two is not in place, even though they say it in Episode 1. Always two there are, and they've been extinct for millennia.
Yeah,
so
and you know what?
It's marvelously stupid.
Yeah, it's marvelously stupid. Yes, but what I'm gonna go ahead and say this as well is that even though the Jedi say two, there always will be. When we read the Plagueis novel, Plagueis and even Sidious are going now not using the rule of two. They are breaking away from that. But again, the Jedi don't know because it's established in the PT. Jedi never studied anything about the Sith, so they wouldn't have noticed any changes because they never kept up on them because they thought they were extinct. Yeah. Whereas Palpatine was like, why, I studied all of it. And we learned in the lore that the Sith studied the Jedi as well. And that's how they got the upper hand. And that's how Sidious knew that if he put them in the war, because, he is the architect between the two wars, or the two sides of the war. So if he got the war started, he knew that the Jedi would help out so that they can reestablish peace, because that's what they are about. So that's why we see the Jedi get involved in the Clone Wars. And so he knew exactly, because he studied them, what they would do. And I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, and here's another thing, because Darth Bane is in the Clone Wars as a vision, or whatever it is, voiced by Mark Hamill. So Darth Bane is canon in their canon, and the novelizations of the movies are also canon, according to Disney, which means the rule of two started by Darth Bane is canon. Because in the Phantom Menace, they explain that in the novelization. So they can't even stick to the little bit of canon they already have.
Yeah, that is what I am. That's the conclusion here. Hi, Vivo or Yevo. I can't read. I'm sorry. Okay, Stig, stop trying to make sense of it. It will make it's going to give you an aneurysm, and I lost it. Damn it! Where'd it go? There we go. Hi, Will Gentry. How are you doing? Everything has a range. There are very few things that just keep going for eternity. There's always a time. I think that even the universe, we might say it goes on and on and on. We all know that one day it's all going to end. We don't know when we're going to stop. We don't, as humans, we don't know when we're going to die. So yeah, you have a point, Master. All right, author Stephen Walton, The Stig Show.
That was after you left.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, because those fireworks are getting on my nerves. Okay, the whole gang is here. Yes, thank you guys for coming in. Hail, Teresa Martin. How are you, sweetheart? Awesome. I'm glad you're in here, Teresa, as well. Steven Saucedo. Hi, how are you doing? I am glad you're here. The Reverend Knight. Hail at Teresa. Look at that. I love that you guys address each other as well. I just love it that you guys have conversation in the chat as well. Okay. Let's see here. TT, if they accept my form of the new president of Lucasfilm, I'll have to employ all of you guys as lore police. Yes.
No,
I will gladly
come in. No, I'll be in charge. I'll be in charge.
Stig's like, hell no, I'm in charge.
I have the high ground. Don't try it, TT.
Oh, you guys are funny. Yes, let's see here. Hey, hi, Grobnob. Hello, everybody. New Zealand have done very well. All right. So a productive designer on episode 9 claims Ray is the chosen one. What the fuck? Yes, that is the news. And that is bullshit. Bullshit. What do you think about that, Stig?
Yeah, I think this shows how retarded they are.
Yeah. I mean, undoing again, that's like the foundation was not hardly there anymore. Like what was created by George is not there anymore. It's basically by undoing the chosen one, the arc of Anakin, which he stretches out through whole 6 movies of the original movies. That's like basically it's gone. The foundation's gone because there's no sense or rhyme or reason for things to be happening now.
Yeah.
Even for Obi-Wan killing Maul to become a Jedi Knight and train Anakin, the chosen one, that's undone.
All of it is undone.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay. Well, Gentry, oh, please. We all know that The Last Jedi Luke was perfectly in character with the OT Luke. Rian Johnson said so. He obviously knows more than any of us do. Thank you for the laugh. It's still April, so that's a great April Fool's joke. Darth Revan, baby. Didn't she say there was no source material? Disney is so backwards. Exactly. There was no novels with 800, pages. Basically, there's no novels basically that has 800 pages.
Yeah, well, technically that's true because none of the novels did have 800 pages. But
yeah,
they
I know.
did have a few hundred that were 300 to 500 pages.
Mm-hmm. And then when you look at the trilogies, then maybe you can say,
yeah.
I mean, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about.
Well, seriously, though, the first thing they released was a reboot of episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that's source material. And then they did Rogue One, which was a complete ripoff of Dark Forces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only original thing they've done is episode 8 and 9, and that was a travesty.
Okay, so Stig, remember I was telling you that I never really fully got into Dark Forces because I never played the game, so I just know of the history behind Dark Forces.
Yeah.
Look what I got.
I'm jealous of that one because those books are difficult to find.
And I got it for $5. Oh my god!
You need to write a will. So if you croak, I get the book.
Look at this. Okay, ready? So I'm geeking out right now because, like I said, I stopped. I used to be a gamer, and then I stopped because I made it onto the dance team in my school. I also been in choir, so I can sing. I just don't do it. There's a lot of things I did. I mean, I played clarinet in the band, so I was in the band at one time. Then I danced. I was on a dance team. I am an artist. I've been drawing my whole life since I remember can pick up a crayon, and so there's a lot of things I can do, you know. So I gave up my gaming so I can dance, and so I never really after that I never got into the games. And so when all these beautiful games came out with Star Wars and stuff, I missed out. So I knew of Dark Forces and the history behind it. I just never played the games and I did read. And so finally I'm adding it to my collection because I want to do the lore on it. But look at these. Look at this art. Let me see. The art is beautiful and there's a glare on there. So yes, I'm geeking out because that's just how I am. So yeah.
I can send you a picture.
Okay.
That's
just it better not be bad, Stig, okay? Because I don't take those kind of pictures.
You didn't complain earlier when I told you my Sarlacc. No, it's relevant to the discussion.
Okay. Okay, let's see here. Make sure you hit the like button. Thank you. Okay.
I sent it to someone yesterday, so.
Wow, Stig. You're a busy man.
Yeah. There you go. Check this out.
Did you send it?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can share it as well if you wish.
All right. Let me see. Let me see if I blow it up. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to share it with you guys because we're going to nerd out right now because this is what this channel is about too, is the EU. Not just me bitching about what's going on. Okay. There it is. Can you guys see it? You see it, Stig?
Yep. I've already seen it.
Well, yeah, I'm seeing right now. Don't get smart with me, young man.
Yeah, this is the original box for Dark Forces. It's from 95. Yeah. And it has a CD-ROM with it. You can see the manual, well, behind the Nerd Cookies message thing. And it's a big box, and it's the first shooter game that was set in the Star Wars universe.
Wow.
And it's the introduction to Call Katarn and Jango.
Yeah. Wow. I am so jealous of you right now. That's amazing.
And I've had it since 95.
Wow. I'm going to leave this image here for right now.
And it's also the first shooter game that lets you use mines.
Oh.
A little bit of trivia.
Very good. Okay, so you guys, if you can get the game, get the game, get the game.
Yeah. Get the game. The whole Call Katarn series is available on GOG.com.
Yeah, okay. That's right.
Way better than Steam, actually, because those games on GOGs work better than
I have a tour, but I haven't started yet, and I was thinking about just getting Dark Forces instead. Or starting that instead. All right, so my chat is hopping here, so let's try to catch up to some of these. Nerd Cookies, I don't understand why they just ignore that the EU ever existed. I guess they thought they could afford to lose support of all the people that grew up with those books. And that's the thing, they did that because they wanted to have creative freedom. But creative freedom to me means that if you're not going to use that part of the foundation that's been created and you're going to keep the initial foundation and expand from that, then that creative freedom means that you're going to leave what you pushed aside alone for your own creative freedom, for your own narration and ideals of the story, not picking and choosing because you are trying for nostalgic reasons. If you wanted to keep us fans who love the original EU, you would have kept that intact and expanded from there. There's plenty of places to expand from in there. You have plenty of materials to use as spin-off movies, as cartoon series. Like the Thrawn trilogy would have been a nice little cartoon series out of the books, I think, like an animated series.
Yeah, and they could have instead of just Rogue One, they could have done Dark Forces, Jedi Knight One, and Jedi Knight Two as a trilogy,
Yeah.
and you'd have Jan Ors and uh, a female Dark Jedi, well, several female Dark Jedi's in it,
Hmm.
and yeah, Jan Ors would kick-ass Asian character.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's probably gone already, but thank you, Lorena, for coming in. Good night. I'm glad that you were here with us. Okay. And everybody's telling her good night. So I'm going to fast forward here a little bit more on the chat. So let's go ahead. Ancient One. And that's why if I were to bring up Rey from Star Wars in a VS matchup, she's going to be up against an opponent who will die with her in a draw.
No, more like she would win anyway, because she's Rey.
Yeah, that's already established that she's good at everything. And basically, if she can beat a Skywalker, two Skywalkers, as she can win anybody. That's how I see that.
Yeah, the second time she uses a lightsaber, she beats a Jedi Master.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and the person who will die with Rey from Star Wars is another Mary Sue. Who okay, then Mary Sue against Mary Sue, you have a draw. Then probably, and it sounds like that's Avar Chris.
Yeah, maybe the winner gets sued.
Okay, let's see here. That Star Wars guy, I love that book. Great art inside. Yes, $5. What a deal! I know. I was like, it's mine, and so I got it. So I'm not going to pass up a deal like that. But the last book in the trilogy, it's going up to like $75 to $130. Yeah. Okay, Soul Assassin OG is the Grievous of Star Wars lore. Or was that Grievous? Is that what you said? Yeah. Another edition to add to my collection. Yes. There you go.
If there are people in the chat that miss playing those old EU Star Wars games, GOG has all of them, every single one, I think, except for the ones that were released on PlayStation exclusively and stuff like that. But all the X-Wing games are there, all the strategy games, all the shooters, everything. Even Shadows of the Empire too.
What I will do, and that's again a firework if you heard that, sorry. What I will do is I will put that link in the description below so you guys can go check out if you guys are interested in downloading or getting the games. Most of them, you have to do them on a Windows platform and not Mac, which my regular computer behind me is a Mac, and I wanted to do KOTOR on that one, and I can't do it. It's not compatible. All right. For Vertical Horizon, I can hear the Wilhelm screams already. Yes. I played it on PS1, and the Xbox is already dug out, and it's a older model Xbox I have. That Star Wars, that guy, I was gonna say that Star Wars guy, that I'm renaming you, by the way, because I tend to do that sometimes. Yeah, that guy says Dark Forces was Star Wars with the Doom engine.
Yeah, he used the same engine as the first Doom game.
Okay. I was like, I can't, expand on that, but Steve can. Okay, TT. I just saw a tweet of a remake of Kylo Katarn ship made with today's program. Very cool. When fans realize that we can make out our own, I think you're saying that, Star Wars, that studios will fall. And that's the thing, like the remake of, or the reimagining of Avar Chris with correct body anatomy into even one that it matches like comics and stuff, like comic body anatomies and stuff like that. It looks much more better. It's much more appealing. And I have stated this on my Twitter, is that people, they think, feel, and see with their eyes first. Basically, well, you don't really feel with your eyes, but you get what I'm saying, is that when you see something, it gives you feelings, if you like it or not. When you see it, is it attractive or not? Because if it's going to be attractive to you, then you're going to be interested in it. That's just life. That's just how it is. And so you're going to want to either, if it's edible, you're going to want to consume it because we, eat with our eyes. If it's art, then you might want to, like save it or purchase it or whatever. And so it has to be appealing. If it's not appealing, you're not going to be interested in it. And that's how that concept art of Avar Chris is. It's not appealing, even though it's a woman. And even if they're saying, oh, we're trying to like show the masculinity of a woman, even if a woman is a tomboy and has that masculine traits, her body is still going to be feminine built, because that's how we are built as women. And that's my rant, and I stick to it. So there. All right. Let's see here.
Hence why people say, "Hey, you look yummy."
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the attraction with the eyes. You feast with your eyes first. You're attracted to what's in front of you, no matter if it's like art, like I said, or if it's food. Like if someone gives you a glop of food on your plate that looks like shit, you're not going to want to eat it. Doesn't look appealing.
Well, if it's chocolate.
I'm just saying, if it looks like shit, like chocolate. Like when, okay, so I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the candies called Hot Licks, and they're I live like 2 hours from their store, and they use edible insects in their suckers. And so you like have the edible worm, you have like a scorpion in there that's edible. So you have those, and worms, that, like I said, worms, ants, you have all that. And some people, like different parts of the world, are accustomed to eating that kind of stuff. Us Americans, not so much, but they are edible. So when you see that, people get turned off in a sense. And then sometimes curiosity kills the cat. I have never tried it, so I can't tell you how it tastes. But I'm just saying that
apparently Willie Woodward thinks I look like an alien from American Dad.
Oh.
I don't know what that one looks like, but hey, I can show you what I look like, though. I have a picture.
Where's your live camera? There you go.
I don't have a live camera. I'm cheap. But this is what I look like.
Okay.
I absolutely look like an alien.
He is an alien.
Yeah.
He is. He's from the Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah. If I head over to the United States, I'd be an illegal alien.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, but I don't think you want to come here. Okay. Best Star Wars game in my honest opinion is 2005 Battlefront 2. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and scroll ahead. Oh, that's it. I remember. Okay, I had a sucker with a scorpion once. It had a stinging taste. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I can't believe we went from Star Wars to eating with our eyes to now eating insects because of my comparison that I've been doing. That's funny. Okay.
I think if I ate scorpions and ants and stuff, that would really bug me.
You think so? It'd be kind of crawly, kind of give you a crawling feeling in your stomach.
Yeah. Maybe I'd open my fly.
Oh, well, you keep that worm inside, okay?
Good one. 8 out of 10. Good pun.
Shenanigans last night, so it's like, oh, damn. That was, yeah. Edible insects with green milk. Oh, maybe they should have sold that down at Galaxy's Edge. Okay. You look yummy, Stig.
Why, thank you, darling.
Well, thank you, darling. That's my thing, huh? Why, thank you, darling. All right, X-Files theme plays. X-Files? I remember watching X-Files.
Oh, that's awesome. It's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, I know. I grew up watching that. Telling my age. The best game studio in the world was LucasArts. I know, and it was very sad that they got rid of them as well. They had such good things coming out of LucasArts. Stig is peeking through a glorious hole. Yeah, you could say that. All right. Mr. Dystopian. OG, you always told us to feast off the living force. Feast off the living force. I did?
You did? I don't know.
I don't know.
It sounds like force feeding, doesn't it?
Yeah, force feeding? Yeah, force feed you.
Yeah.
That's a new concept. That's a new concept. Wow. Yeah. So, so I just wanted to come on and talk about that interesting bit about, about Mr. King and how he was not told that his character was not going to be premiered and it was being replaced. I feel very heartbroken for him in that sense, knowing about this now. And after, even though we're how many, like a few months out of it, from that initial time frame that, when he realized that he wasn't going to be used, and that realizing that he wasn't told. And I think that's very unprofessional of Disney Lucasfilm to do something like that. And I think it's very upsetting because they want to plant that diversity seed, yet they are now only set at a certain point of what type of diverse they want, if I can explain it, what's going on in my head. And what I mean by that is that if you're not a woman, I'm sorry to say, and it upsets me as a woman, I think it's complete bullshit. So if you're not a woman and you're not a part of the LGBT non-binary group of people, then you don't mean anything, really.
Well, they had representation from the first movie because hermaphrodites fall under the LGBTQ community, right?
Yeah, well, I'm talking now.
So
Yeah.
well, Jabba the Hutt
Mm-hmm.
well, is an hermaphrodite because Hutts are hermaphrodites. So they had representation. I wouldn't say it's good representation, but and later on, Juhani from KOTOR, she was bisexual.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's disappointing. I will always tell, and I've gotten into huge debates with people, and some of these debates and these discussions about Disney Star Wars has created friendships with some people. And then it also has gone to creating someone that basically ends up calling me names and blocking me and stuff. And that's just how it's always going to be. If you like anything about Disney Star Wars, or like even if it's just the Mandalorians, good for you. I'm happy for you. My heart is relatively with George Lucas era, and I choose to compare and contrast the lore. So that means I'm still going to study and follow what Disney is doing. I'm going to take and compare it to the original lore that's already been laid down, even though that they don't really want to use it, even though they use it to show which is better, to show which is contradicting from the movies and which falls better with the movies. And so that's just my foundation there. But my main foundation is the EU, and to keep it alive with us. And I encourage you guys to return every time for my channel whenever I have a video up, because it's either going to expand on the novel, it's going to expand on a character, it's going to expand on the world, whatever is going on. But this is all original EU or original lore. I do a few news bits, and I was kind of talking with Stig about this. I'm like, I don't really want to like consistently share current news, because that's not what my channel's about. However, it's gonna, if there's significant effects to the lore, or I feel that you guys need to learn about, then yes, I will probably put it in coffee chat or probably do a video. So I would like to know, would you guys like to hear more news from me about the Star Wars, current Star Wars going on like we did here today? Or do you guys want to still have this relatively EU channel? So I'd like to hear that back from you guys. And Stig, you can go ahead and give your insight. You guys only help me make this channel better.
Personally, I'd say stick to the EU because you're the only one doing it. Because everyone else seems to do Star Wars news, but I guess you could do your own spin on it, do Star Wars news, and then compare it to the EU. I don't know. It's all up to you. I'll watch them.
Yeah, I know, and it's like, I know relatively it's up to me, but like just asking all of you guys who support me on the channel what you like as well, like what it helps me give you content that you like to watch as well. Again, the general focus is the EU. Another person that expands on the EU a lot is Matt Wilkins as well, and he doesn't do anything Disney, nothing Disney whatsoever. It's just strictly George Lucas era.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there that has asked me and others about the EU, right?
Yeah.
Where do I start? Which book should I do first? Um, so there is so much Star Wars out there in book form and gaming form and all that,
Mhm.
that you can easily just ignore the Disney stuff and just immerse yourself in that Star Wars, because that Star Wars, in my opinion, is good.
Yeah,
So
and just thinking about that, because I have all these projects and these ideas in my head, and I know that I'm not even like I haven't even covered the tip of the iceberg of the EU or the lore in this little time that I've had my channel. And so I know that there is a lot to expand on, to share, and to show you guys, to recommend to you guys, and have fun with you guys with live streams or just regular videos. And I know too that it's always good to at least share some news as well when it pertains to maybe the lore, what's going on, like with Luke Skywalker versus how he was in the original EU, again, compare and contrast. So any, like I said, all this constructive criticism I will take and try to provide as much as I can of the EU lore with a little bit of news maybe. So we can't even talk. She sells seashells on the seashore. I am so tired now. But yeah, so I just wanted to get insight on that. So I'm going to take a look at the chat. You guys are all telling me yes, please. So I don't know what yes, please is on. Let me see. Don't give Lucasfilm ideas because they'll run with that force feeding power. Okay, that guy says, I want to say that if not for the ineptitude of Disney Lucasfilm, we wouldn't be here right now with these awesome people. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you. So thank you, Evil Mouse. Oh, I like the little emojis here too. That's cute. Okay. What TT? Yes, please. So I'm guessing just strictly EU, maybe, or a little bit of both. Okay. Or one more than the other. I will predominantly probably just do the EU or the original lore, and that's including the movies as well. In fact, my next lore video is on book 1 of Han Solo trilogy. So, Vertical Horizon. A nominativity on the internet brings out the worst in people sometimes. Soul Assassin, do it, and perhaps a few game streams. That's what I want to do. I just have to get on it and play a game. I have KOTOR. I just haven't done it yet. I haven't even started it yet to even get my feet wet and relearn gaming stuff yet. It's like I feel like I'm going back in it as a brand new player. That guy says, I enjoy any news as you can provide OG Star Wars. Thank you so much. And I don't want to keep on putting out the same stuff, like the same news as every other channel as well. Like there was a couple that I did that no one expanded on, and one was about Lando Calrissian in the comics, which I think is very important to cover. So I'm going to try to find things that someone's not covering, like I did with this one here that Ichibaka gave us about Mr. King and not being able to have his character being seen as originally intended. Okay. This time is better than during the day. EU mixed with news is good. And that's the thing, when I first made this channel, I was going through school, family life got me busy, working and all this other stuff. So I couldn't really fit in a lot of the evening times. So maybe I will consider doing a Sunday evening. Maybe you can call it cocktail time, or I don't know, cocktail chat. I don't know. Okay. What do you think, Stig?
I don't think you should.
If I did it.
I don't think you should put cock in there, but you could call it something else.
You said cock.
No, you said it too, and tail.
Yeah, cocktail. That's very interesting. All right, Willie Woodward. Really, you look like Gary Oldman. I think that's you, Stig, because I don't think I look like Gary Oldman.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, if it's something big in Star Wars, then sure, but talking about the EU is always cool. Yes, and that's what I love, and that's why I love doing these live streams as well and talking about the EU. Let me see here. I think the alien is called Roger, so I know that was a while ago. All right, very, very punny OG Star Wars. Yeah, and Stig is rubbing off on me. It's a bad influence. or should it be a good influence? I don't know. However you take it. All right, here's a suggestion. It'd be cool for you to bring on other fandom menace, i.e. Anna, that Star Wars girl. Yes, I've been on her stream a couple of times, and I would love to do that as well. I know she's very, very busy, and she has stuff going on. So, yeah, but I've been on a couple of her streams as well, hanging out and having fun. And I just adore her to death. Very sweet woman, and yeah, we all, everybody who does a YouTube channel, even Stig, and I'm pointing the right way now, has an opinion, and we are very strong opinionated people. That's why we have these channels. So, not everybody's going to like us, or we're not going to be their cup of tea per se. But there's always a channel out there that may fit what you want to know. So that's why I say, I may not be your cup of tea, but there might be someone out there who's given the lore that may be your cup of tea. All right, other members, and ask them what got them into the EU and such. Yes, and I hope to do that. That's another thing that's in the back of my mind about. And so, Stig, since you're here, what got you into the EU? Share that with everybody.
Well, technically, I started with the EU because I read the first thing Star Wars I was exposed to was a Marvel comic, and I think it was number 75.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad bought me a Star Wars comic, and then I started collecting the toys. First one I got was Chewie from the old Kenner line, and then later on, one weekend, my sister and I got to rent VHS movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
She picked a cartoon of something, and I found The Empire Strikes Back, and I'd never seen it. So that was the first movie I watched.
Okay, and that was my first too.
Yeah, and a few weeks later, I had nagged my parents to death because I wanted to see the next one because it ends with Han Solo being basically kidnapped, right? So I needed to know how it goes.
Yeah, you're like, I gotta see. Yes.
Yeah.
And movies don't do that hardly anymore now.
Yeah.
They don't leave
and after that, a few years later, because I could never find A New Hope because it was always rented out, and all of a sudden it was on TV, so I finally got to watch that one. And then video games happened. I think Dark Forces was X-Wing. X-Wing was the first Star Wars game I played, and then Dark Forces and TIE Fighter, and then started reading books around, I think it was around the year 2000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know, and it's not I don't meet too many people that started off with the EU first. So I didn't start off with the EU first, but because the OT left a huge impression on me. Like I said, I guess you could say I initially started with the Empire Strike Back, but that would be kind of a lie, maybe not. But my aunt and my grandma and everybody took us out to the drive-in theaters to watch Empire Strikes Back. But before we did that, they had it planned. They gave us the VHS of Star Wars. Basically, at the time, it was Star Wars. It wasn't called A New Hope. And so we watched that first to understand what was going on with the next installment. And then so we watched that, and then we went to the drive-ins, and I was hooked. Then Return of the Jedi, and then after that, I was like, I got to learn more. And that's where I started picking up the EU. And from there, I've been hooked. And my family loved anything space-wise. So we watched Star Trek, we watched Star Wars, but I stayed more on the Star Wars side, where my grandma, my aunt, and them stayed more on the Star Trek side of what we like to watch.
Technically, though, I started with the movies because the old Marvel comics aren't EU.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Some of them got pushed into S and N canon because of how they were placed after the development of the EU.
Yeah, because they, to be fair, they were entertaining and all that.
Oh yeah,
but they just don't fit.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that they used from those comics, I think, was Lumaya.
Yeah, that's right too. And yes. And I was reading, and there's like little fun facts that I like to share, and I haven't done it lately, so I think I'll do a fun fact. But That's right, because it even says in the reader's companion that Lumaya, it shares a little bit about Lumaya being in the comics first and stuff like that, and being taken out of it as a character into the into the novelizations and stuff. So I thought that was very interesting, and so that's a fun fact, everybody, if you didn't know. And I will put up some fun fact videos. I just haven't kept up on them, and it's always fun to like. One I want to do is about Darth Caedus and how he got his name. So I think I will do that since I mentioned it for the fun facts coming up. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. So let's go ahead, and Mason W says, you're not a cup of tea. OG, you're a cup of coffee. Well, thank you. Kenner was everywhere back in the day. Okay. Toolfer? What would be good to read after Visions of the Future? So Visions of the Future is right at the end of the New Republic era, and that takes you into the New Jedi Order. Did you read the Thrawn trilogy? Visions of the Future is of the duology, and I like that read too as well. Some people didn't. Some people, that was the one of Zahn's that got mixed reviews, I've noticed. If you want to see a new enemy come to light, I would say go with the New Jedi Order.
Yeah. Fair warning, though, it's 19 books, I think.
Mm-hmm. But it's so I liked it. I liked it because it wasn't the remnant of the Empire, or Empire remnant. It had new bad guys come in, and basically were kind of out of galaxy, in a sense. And so, if you're interested on seeing, seeing that and seeing a new bad guy come in and how they deal with it, and how even I wouldn't say cripples the Jedi, but the Jedi have to find new ways to deal with this bad guy. So it makes it more interesting for for the whole overall plot.
Yeah, and there's a lot of wedge in them as well, I think.
Mm-hmm. There's tragedy in there, so I warn you, there's going to be tragedy.
Oh yeah,
a lot of tragedy.
It basically starts with one.
Mm-hmm. And so if you like books that keep you on the edge of your seat, like with the tragedy wise, all that, and also captivate you with how the Jedi try to find new ways of using their abilities to combat this new bad guy, then I would suggest to do it, read it. So it's 19 books, but there are some great stories in there. There's a great storyline in there.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, they all feel like Star Wars stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is important, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, and then so like I said, I picked that up. It's 19 books, so it's a commitment read right there. They do have most of them on Audible, but they're unabridged. Or was it? Yeah, so they don't have the whole complete story. It's plot heavy, but there are going to be some details that are going to be left out for the sake of having the Audible shorter timeline. So I usually recommend Audible for some books and stuff, but I would say pick up the books first, since the Audibles don't cover a lot of the little bits of the books that they should.
Yeah. Golden rule: if you can get an unabridged book, get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel sorry for people who were first introduced to Star Wars through the holiday special on Ewok. I watched the Ewok movies and I was young, so I haven't revisited them now. So to be fair, that was perfectly fine with me for the Ewoks.
I have some trivia for you about the Ewok movie.
If I can remember, like I said, it's been a long time.
Yeah, well, the villain lady from one of them served as the basis for the Night Sisters.
Oh, shit.
So she got retconned into being a Night Sister later on.
Yeah. Does it have to do with the courtship of Princess Leia?
Yeah, I think they just looked at the Ewok movies later and said, yeah, that one was probably a Night Sister, given what we know now, right?
Who is it then?
No, that's the trivia. That's what
Oh,
the yeah. It's the Night Sister.
oh, oh. So the development of the Night Sisters.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of like initial characters. I was like,
No, no,
well,
no.
who was it?
Yeah. No, no, no. It wasn't more than that. It was
That
just,
was a trick question, Stick. How dare you?
I don't know. Pay attention, lady.
I'm paying attention. It was how you worded it. Oh my god, that's funny. Thank you. Yeah, and that's another fun fact. Thank you. All right, Elite Merrick. Oh, I like that Merrick. So, is it pronounced like the Merrick's booster, or like Merrick Tarek? Is there some like similar things to that? Is that why you have Merrick?
Now,
I'm just
Merrick
is the daughter.
no, Galen Merrick. That's the Force Unleashed
Oh,
guy.
that Merrick, because they have Merrick too. They have Merrick, Merrick Horn, Cornhorn's wife.
Maybe he's an American.
Maybe America. All right. Did you watch the Clone Wars micro series that aired before Episode 3 came out in 2005? Are you talking about the Tartakovsky's 2003? Because I have that and I'm going through review, so I should be doing. I should be reviewing chapter 2 for Coffee Chat. So I instead of just doing its own videos on review, I'm going to add those to Coffee Chat as well, so we can talk about each episode through Tartakovsky's or 2003 Clone Wars. So heads up, everybody, and heads up, Stig. So let's see here. So Assassin, space, the truth is out there, OG. The truth is out there. X-Files. That's what that reminds me. Okay, and the sequels to be fair. I don't know what you're expanding on. I know I'm behind on the chat, so I'm sorry if some of that doesn't make sense to me right now. Mr. Dystopian, videos on Infinity's comics would be interesting. I would love to get into that because we even have Leia being trained by Yoda.
You know, those comic omnibuses. There's one with all the Infinities comics.
Oh, is it right? Huh?
Yeah. 400 pages or something.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Yeah, all the comics.
That Star Wars guy, I remember watching Star Wars on laser discs. Laser swords and laser discs. Google laser disc for those that don't know what that is.
I know what it is because I had rip-offs of those on something called DivX, which was back when you could rip off DVDs and stuff, and I had the laserdisc copies for a long time until they were finally released on DVD.
Laserdisc, the cousin to the 8-track player. Oh my god, there's such an evolution of like 8 tracks, and then you have laserdiscs, then you have cassette players, then you have record players, and then you have the CD. And now you don't have shit, you just have it on your phone. So
yeah, bunch of phonies.
Yeah, phonies. We're just a bunch of we're in the phony generation, aren't we? Sounds good. Wedge is cool. I love Wedge. He is one of my most favorite like non-force pilots there, and I think even more so than Han. Even though I watched his story develop, I think Wedge has always been fascinating to me as well. Okay, let's see here. Mirax. There you go. I'm like Mirax. See? Got it partly right, but I knew her name. All right. Working my way through the last command. What should I read next? Oh,
Kenobi.
Kenobi? You want them to go all the way back to Kenobi?
I don't know.
You just threw that out. You're like, Kenobi.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys want to follow the book reading club here on YouTube, then Kenobi is the book that's being read right now if you're following it.
If you're reading The Last Command, you might want to read Outbound Flight, which is kind of like a little prequel to it.
Yeah.
Which will be on the book club after Kenobi.
There you go. See? So we're setting this up. So the book club here, and I don't have, the channel wasn't decided yet, right? But I don't have whose channel it's going to be on. I know Ryan, Lethal, and was it Evan?
Yeah, Evan.
The book club?
Yeah, and
So,
probably Callum.
and Kellum. And so so I don't know whose channel is going to be on just yet, so I can't announce it right now. But if you want to follow along, I suggest pick up Kenobi, the book, and because it's unabridged, I like I secretly got an orange. I'm very magical. Because it's unabridged, that means it's the whole story in the Audible. So if you don't have time to read, but you still want to keep up with the lore or with the novel, then get the Audible. And they need to sponsor me. Shit, I'm always saying get the Audible. I need them to sponsor me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know, if you're gonna do gaming videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing on GOG that lets you be an associate. So you put a
Okay.
link to the game itself in the store under your video, and if someone clicks it, goes to GOG and buys it, you get a little percentage of the sale.
Hmm.
It's a thing they do.
Okay, might have to look into that. All right,
Yeah.
I have not gotten to the Dawn of the Jedi series at all. That's one thing I'd never read at all. So I might be
Me
letting
neither,
you
but there's one novel, but apparently you need to read comics before that novel.
know. Okay. We might have to expand on that later. All right. So Vertical Horizon, Sam Witwer can do no wrong. He's been involved with Star Wars for a good while now. Tartarovsky. I know, and how I pronounce it now. I'm just like stuck on how I pronounce it, but you guys know what I'm saying. Tartarovsky. Tartar. You want some tartar with that? All right, I'm going to have to remember that one every time I say it. All right, Mr. Dystopian and Yoda trolling Tarkin.
I don't remember him trolling Tarkin.
Thank you. Okay, and some of the new Marvel Vader comics are actually good. I am not interested in reading the Star Wars stuff, even when it comes to Vader, because now, even though they're like giving us like this badass Vader, it's still not the same
Yeah,
anymore.
because he got neutered in Rebels. They turned him
Yeah,
into a dumbass. And that's canon, so
yeah. Enjoy them and have
if
fun with them. I
you
will
know,
not discourage you, but
of course, if people like it, by all means, buy them and read them. Um,
exactly.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't. I'm
Yeah,
just saying I won't.
yeah. And so maybe we'll have a discussion, Vertical Horizons, about that. And so you can help me compare and contrast. Because I always like to see who's reading what as well. So I can bring you in and talk with you about that, or at least talk to you privately about that when it comes to comparing and contrast as well. Or just to
What
get an opinion about that. I'm eating a
what
blood orange.
what
Look at that.
what
Gorgeous.
she
Look at
really
that.
means is interrogate.
Yes, I will interrogate you. Look at this is a blood orange. Well,
Hmm.
where's my isn't that pretty? Look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like those. We used to have blood orange lemonade in Norway.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, quite good.
Very, very interesting. Okay, Soul Assassin, 8-track to digital times go back. Oh my god, that's throwing it way back,
Back
way
on
way
track.
back on track. There we go, back on track, and now I'm sticky.
Hmm.
But that's okay. It's good. All right. So yes, like I said, I wanted to present this bit of news to you because I thought it was pretty interesting. Um, and I think, like I said, I think it's dishonorable for Disney to do what they did, or Disney Star Wars, Disney Lucasfilm. In the light of what's going on with Filoni and the revelation of how he thinks Luke Skywalker should be basically further castrated, or basically the end of himself as a man because a woman's way better, which I think as a woman that no matter who the character's gender is or even sexual profile, I guess if you want to say, that does not matter to me. If the character's written well, then I'm going to get involved with the character arc, not because it's female, not because it's male, because I want to see what happens to the character. That's what got me into Star Wars. That's what got me to love Luke Skywalker in general. That's what got me to keep reading about Luke Skywalker in the original EU. I started on post Return of the Jedi, end of the EU, because of Luke Skywalker. Vader did fascinate me, and so did Anakin, but I started off with Luke Skywalker, and I wanted to know what happened to him. I want to know if he became a Jedi, or he rebuilt the Jedi Order, if he brought the Jedi back. That's what got me going. Not because of his gender. He was relatable to me because of his character arc, because of his struggle, because I knew no matter if he's male or female, which never came to my mind about that what he faced or what he went through, that he can overcome adversity and still pull through. That's what I like about characters, not because of your gender or their gender, but because they can they of their trials and tribulations, if they pull through adversity, how they dealt with it, because it gives me confidence in, dealing with situations that no matter what circumstances are put in front of me or even that character or whatever, that you can overcome. You just have to have the confidence. You have to have the determination. You have to be determined. And that's what Luke Skywalker was and is in the original EU. And that's why I like him, not because of gender, but because of what he went through. And yes, at the time he was good looking to me as well. He still is, but yeah, good looking. And men and women are gonna like a character to by their looks and stuff. That's what goes back to the Avar Chris stuff. But when you look at a character and follow their journey, they get you sucked in because of that journey. And George Lucas well written Luke Skywalker's character through the hero's journey arc. And that's what's so fascinating, because I love learning about different cultures, and I love like the myths of different cultures. And I've seen that hero's journey. I attached that hero's journey, and I adored how George did that. And so that's why I like Luke Skywalker. It's not because he's male, it's because of his hero arc. And I don't think I felt any less significant as a girl growing up or as a woman now because he's a male. And there's my rant.
Yeah,
there we go.
and when I watched Alien and Terminator, I didn't feel less of a man from watching Sigourney Weaver and Linda Hamilton kick ass.
In fact, you probably enjoyed it, and she's a badass woman, so I bet you that was a huge turn on too. And yes, I'm going to go there.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. So, so there's my little rant. So we're going to go ahead and end it here. We're like going over 2 hours now. Hi, Abu Nas. Thank you so much. So thank you guys for coming in. Thank you guys. This was just last minute. I wanted to cover that story. I'm glad I got to cover the story. Tomorrow I'll be on toxic femininity. I think that's still scheduled for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday, right? I'm losing track of time. So we have toxic femininity. So I'll be on that. So come watch us. It should be fun. It's always fun with us ladies, And then Tuesday I'll have my lore video out on Han Solo, Paradise Snare, book 1 of the Han Solo trilogy. So stay tuned for that. And then we have coffee chat Thursday morning. Maybe I'll have a guest or two on, maybe not. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. I do love engaging with the chat as well. So we'll see what comes from that. I am doing chapter 2 of Clone Wars 2003. So we'll discuss that. I did provide links on my Twitter and in the last coffee chat. So if you want to rewatch the Clone Wars 2003, I can even put the link down in the description here. It's all both seasons or whatever. So you might have to fast forward it, or you could just watch the whole damn thing, whatever. It's like 2.5 hours if you watch everything, just to stay on par with what I'm going to talk about with that. So Stig, do you have anything you want to add?
No.
Okay. That was winded.
Well, thank you for having me on, though. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun to talk Star Wars, and especially the EU. And yeah, don't know where I'll be next week, because I just pop on when people ask me to, if I have time. So I'm random.
And I'm forgetting one, and sorry, Abu Nas, but I'm going to put up here and I'm going to talk about a little bit more. So I will be with Abu Nas on a panel discussing the OT Appreciation live stream Saturday night at 8 p.m. And we are expanding on Empire Strikes Back. So come on with us, and we are going to show our love and appreciation for what created Star Wars, the foundation of Star Wars. And one of the most favorite one out of the OT, as the ET, that's totally different brand and different thing, but that Empire Strikes Back is one of the most popular one in the trilogy. I like Return of the Jedi more, but everybody has their own pick. Again, so come and join us as we break it down, the whole movie, and give our perspective and our love notes to Empire Strikes Back. So there we go. And so Stig, why don't you go ahead and share your channel? I know you have added more content to it, which I got to check out. So you guys join me and check it out. But go ahead and expand on your channel.
Yeah, I'm not a YouTuber at all. Just to make that clear, but I do have a channel.
He's so modest. He's so modest.
No, it's the truth. All of a sudden, I had 100 followers and not a single video. So I just had to put something in there. So I made a couple of silly videos, and yesterday I put up a bunch of retro stuff. So I went from 8 minutes of content to over an hour. And if you think about the percentage, that was quite the update. So yeah, there's some old commercials there. I don't know, a couple of cartoons. I don't know. I just stuffed things in there just to fill up a bit. But other than that, I'm usually on other people's channels talking about nerdy stuff and having a good time doing that.
Yeah, so. And that's why I bring you on too. And like I said, you've written before, so you have a foundation behind that, so it's easier to help have you come in and help break down some books and stuff and all that, which I highly appreciate as well. And plus you're more into, like I said, I gave up on Filoni, the Clone Wars. I gave up watching on them a while back. So
I agree with you. You mean?
Yeah, and so so you are more adverse to the later part of the Clone Wars as well, because like I said, I gave up on Filoni a while back. So yeah, so it was good to have you on, just to have your insight on that as well, with the direction the Clone Wars has gone as well. And I enjoy having you here, and you add fun to it as well, so that's a bonus. So yeah. All right. So you guys, you can find me here on my channel, OG Star Wars. I am the Legends girl trying to make it in this disc-canon world. And disc-canon means Disney canon. So, you can find me here. You can find me on Toxic Femininity, Babe the Menace, when we do go once a month. And then also on my Twitter channel as well, focusing on the original lore. And that's everything George Lucas era, the movies, the games, the novels, comics, whatever. So that's what my channel is about. And you guys are here because of that. And I appreciate, your support here. I couldn't do it without you guys, without the love of Star Wars. We continue this. So you guys have a great day, and may the Force be with you.